So I thank you, my brother and my sister, for this challenge you have taken. It's a big challenge. It's a challenge like the one David took to attack Goliath. Yeah? Because the things I'm looking at here, all of them are like Goliath. Right? So we pray to God that He enables you and get more support from everyone that can support. As you've talked about, the men of God has always provided or given people who will provide. And when I look at even Apostle Paul and the ladies who are providing, the men who are providing, is from out of voluntary, they could make it to provide. Niseme kwamba mambo ya uwekezaji ni mambo ya kimungu. What did God do when He created the earth? He gave man, and here man means both man and woman, or humanity. He gave them dominion over the world. Dominion, and that's why God ama Mungu hakuji kutenda mambo yeye mwenyewe, bali hutumia watu kutenda hayo mambo, kwa sababu ashawapatia hiyo mamlaka ya kuwa walinzi ama wawekezaji ama wenye kuangalia ama kunufaisha mambo yote ambayo yako katika ulimwengu. So we are just refusing or objecting or not agreeing to do what God wanted us to do in the beginning. So in the beginning, yes, something happened and we moved away from God. But He sent His only Son, who now restored us to the same position that Adam and Eve were. You lost an opportunity to say amen. Yeah? So, if we have already been restored, tumerudishwa, urudisho katika ufalme, then we have all the rights that were meant to be our rights. So we own everything. We own everything. However, every time you hear however, ingawa hivyo, here from French. So we have a responsibility to take action. The example I've given you about David, if he never took action to walk towards Goliath, God would not have used him. And many others that we have seen in the scriptures, the taking of action is ours. You don't rise up to that occasion, you lose all the opportunities. Now, I've made very simple presentation of what it's about, and I tried to talk about investment, and every time somebody hears about investment, then they disconnect, because it is something for some people out there. But I wanted us to talk about something that is ours. So, you are sick. You need to be well. So, and we want you to be financially well. Yeah? So, convert investment to financial wellness. Yeah? We've talked about our physical wellness, mili yetu. Sasa tunataka kutoka mili yetu to uwekezaji. Ama, what did you call financial? Financial, you'd call it what in Swahili? You're still finding out. Leta tuseme uwekezaji ama rasilimali yoyote. So, financial wellness. And financial wellness start right in your house. Inaanza mambo ya kifedha, inaanza kwa nyumba yako ama na wewe mwenyewe. Kwanza fikiria mambo yako. Kumaanisha kama hauna hela, hauna stima. Si lazima uweke token siku hizi. Kama hauna hela, hauna stima. Kama hauna hela, hauna gas ama kuni, kwa sababu lazima uende ukanunue. Kama hauna hela, hauwezi kujikinga insurance. You can't insure yourself. Kama huna hela, hata maji hunywi. Si hata hii tumenunua. Kama huna hela, vitu mingi sana hautafanya, ndio? Hata kusomesha watoto kwenda shule, hawataenda shule. Wewe mwenyewe hautatoka kwa nyumba. So it's actually financial wellness is equal to health. It's like you are sick. If you are not, financial wellness is like you are sick. There is something you have not done. And we will find out how can we then do that. And if you want to doubt that, the scripture itself has talked about money 2,350 times. 2,350 times. More than the verses talking about faith and prayers. Meaning it is part of life. It's part of what God wants us to be, what God wants us to do. If the Bible itself, which is the word of God, which is God speaking, has spoken about money in whichever form, maybe in form of gold, silver, maybe in terms of talents, maybe some of them in terms of our treasure. It has talked about it, and when you count all of them, it's 250. 2,350. And we are saying it's twice as many verses of faith and prayer combined. Ukishikanisha zote. And without faith and prayers are the most important. Now I'm telling you money is more important. I tell you. It's because God knows our attitude towards money will dictate where our heart is. We can either follow God, gold, or God. So some of them are restraining us from forgetting that wealth, that gold, that money actually is not yours. It belongs to God. You are supposed to be holding custody. Okay? That's why you can't keep money in your pocket. It's wrong. Money should be moving to be converted into assets or usage. It shouldn't stay in your pocket. It's wrong. Or remember what the story about the talents. The guy who had one was told, even if you took it to the bank, it would have earned me interest. How foolish are you that you keep money in your box? You must be very foolish. And God created you wise. So you are the one who has that wrong. It's not God, because God created you wise. All of us gave us talents. So the point here is that if you have money, let it be working for you or be giving you results. It should be giving you results. It must be giving you results. It ought to be giving you results. Okay, let's go back to about what we talked about, the money. So we use money to pay bills. But where is the money coming from then? Where is money coming from? Yeah? Where is this money coming from? Right? We revisit again the Genesis and remember that we were, after we disobeyed, when we used to get now free things, and where we are going, those free things will be restituted. Not everything was restituted when Jesus died at the cross. The final is at the final resting place, yeah? When the rapture happens. That's when now we go to the up in the waiting room, at the bay, at the waiting bay, both at the ulimwengu, because when you are leaving, you're still in the waiting bay, and when you go, you are now near, at the door, you know where you are checked, up on the checking point, uingie kwa ndege. Now, let's put it like that. You're waiting, those who have rested before us, and in faith, they're still in that second heaven. John will tell you more about that second heaven. Let me not interrupt with his. Now, so we have talked about how we spend, and that's where all of us start. We start where we spend. The most unfortunate thing is we forget, where does money come from? We should be starting with, where does money come from? Money is naturally there. And I want you to equate now money to even assets. Equate money also to assets. Money is always there. So, in essence, we have, I want to skip somewhere and go, first of all, to our goals, because our goals shape our money. Okay? So skipping, I'll keep on moving from one point to the other. So we will look at our goals. And there is an intentional reason why the PowerPoint presentation are made in this form. It's so that you are not comfortable now that I have understood. So I have mixed them, all of them. Okay? So, because I used to be a teacher before I became a banker. So, each individual has their financial goals, isn't it? So what is yours? Can you write them? What is your goal, financial goal? What do you want to do? How do you... So, what is our goal? Tunataka kuwa na nini? So, I want to ask Nyota to pick one microphone and pick up, read a few goals they have written. You must have written at least one, isn't it? Hii ni class is serious, you know. Ni ya involvement. Kwa hivyo lazima ukue alert. Which are your financial goals? We'll read one of them.
Who has?
At least one.
Yes.
You can read two of them.
People are writing paragraphs.
Yes, financial goal.
Don't know who has finished. Yeah, we can hear yours. You can just say, not yet.
Walk around, there must be some financial
just tell us
goals.
your name and what's your goal. One, just one.
To build a house. To do business.
To do business,
Do
yeah.
business. Another one.
Do business.
Establish conference center.
Establish conference center.
Yes.
Yeah.
And hear from Apostle.
Preach the gospel.
Preach the gospel. Have all the money to preach the gospel up to the end of the world, right?
Yeah, one more.
Build a prayer center.
To build a prayer center. So, I think you are right, because you're talking about your key area of ourselves is to have financial freedom. And that financial freedom gives you the key so that you are able to align your finances to God's purpose. So we are aligning the finances to God's purpose. So, and everybody have their goals. Not two are the same. If you have listened, none of them have the same goals. Not two are the same. So it depends now with your as an individual. So goals are different. In fact, financial goals are different with the seasons. When you are young, the financial goals are different. You are thinking about how possibly to get married, or how possibly to buy a car, or how possibly to get a job. Yeah? Then at the 20s, because you have not even finished school or something, you are still in university, possibly your goals is to sherehe. Yeah? You know, your goals in sherehe hapa na pale, sindio? At that years, is your financial goals are revolving around the family. Watoto hiyo namna hiyo, kama hujafanikiwa kupata huyo sasa inakuwa shida. You're spending much of your money in that area, around that area. Then at 40, you start realizing that I need to keep something, because it seems like the energy is like, that's when it starts dawning to you. Sometimes the energy may come down, you know? Yeah, so I need to keep, to invest. Yeah, I need to, and you are in a hurry now, and you are conned. Eh? Because you're in a hurry, you're likely to be conned. That's what they do. They look at the guys at 40, because that guy is in a hurry to make money. Now he has realized time is gone, and I'm approaching 50. So, mabroti maguta na unaambiwa, it is near, it is only 600 kilometers to the beach. Kumbe ni mlolongo. All right. So, at 50, you stop even thinking about investment. You start thinking about regular income that does not require your effort. Because you start realizing, hata kwanza hiyo energy sasa, hata ile ndogo ilikuwa ya kwenda kuinvest imeisha. So you start now, the focus starts changing. Unaona, kila kitu unataka kufanya ni yenye inaweza kuleta pesa bila mimi kufanya kazi. Is it true? That's at 50. So, you are thinking about retirement. Even if you are in business, you're thinking about who can run this business for me. Even if you are, you have a prayer center, you're wondering who will run this prayer center. Are you getting? So everything starts now changing towards who can do it in my absence. And it's aligned to God's purpose. Because numbers of mortal man, the years of mortal man are numbered. You can consult Job, he'll tell you that. Now, so those are the drivers of how we set goals. Right? Those are the drivers of how we set goals. And in that case then, when we are setting our goals, we must set them in alignment to God's purpose. Actually, by default, we set them in alignment to God's purpose. Because at that early stage of 30, it's school fees, how many swimming galas your boy is going to go for. Those are the thoughts that are occupying our mind. And it is very important to realize that you have not done wrong to be thinking that way. But then I go back to page 1. If you look at this, my total there is about 655. These are dollars. If you multiply by 150 today, it's quite a huge sum of money, isn't it? Call it 655,000 Kenya shilling, yeah? That's now the budget. Now, this person, that is the expenditure. Now, whatever your expenditure is, you must make sure your income is above by 40% the expenditure. Your income must be above 40% your expenditure. Why? Because in this bill, you have not talked about saving, that you want to keep money. In this budget, it's just your monthly expenditure. You need to be thinking about medical. In this item, you need to be thinking, these are real life situations, ndio? Mahospitali, bills za hospitali, watoto wameenda shule inalipwa pesa mingi, ama kuna ka trip kwa shule. You need to have those money there. Because if your child come and you are not able to provide for the child to go for that trip, you have already paid school fees. But if you're not able to pay for that trip, what happens? It affects your faith. That's why it's godly. It affects your faith. You are down. In fact, you are unable to pray, even to ask God to give you the money, if your child is affected. Are we together? So it is so much aligned that you got to make sure at least your income is more than 40% more than your expenditure. So that 40%, now remember why I said 40%, every number has a reason. 10% will go to God. That you must do. Give it to the man of God or the woman of God to eat it. Umpatia kule, kwa sababu hiyo ndio scripture imesema. The Levites were being given that to eat. So it has not changed. Ni ya kukuliwa. Wacha kusema inakuliwa, ni ya kukuliwa. Hiyo tithe ni ya kukuliwa. Wacha ikuliwe. Kwa sababu that's what God intended it to be. Ni ya kukuliwa huko kwa na Walevi wanaitwa Levites, sawa, si Walevi. The Levites are supposed to be eating that. Walawi. Walawi ndio nilikuwa natafuta hiyo. So and if you don't give it, they will be it affects what you have left in the pocket. Okay? Now, the 20% of the 40 ni ya kuinvest. You put your money to work for you. Now, this one is to work for you without you supervising it. So the 20% you could be putting it either into the business, or you could be putting it in a bank, and you will come to methods of investment later. Okay? And anybody who feels like that, then there is another figure that is remaining. What is that? 10%. 10% become an insurance. That is for insuring. You will either put it somewhere in the bank for the rainy day, okay? For the day, for an emergency. It's an emergency. Or you can be paying a premium in an insurance company. Because there will come a time when you are not prepared and something has happened and needs to be sorted, and it must be sorted. Sijui kama nina communicate. Okay? It needed to be sorted, and it has to be sorted before anything else go on. Actually, you stop everything that you are doing because that thing has to be sorted. Are we together? Either hata pengine ni kiatu, you know, you can be having a shoe like especially for ladies, na itoke hii kitu ya chini. You are just walking, unakuta unaiona huko mbele. It's by accident. I've seen it not once. Or you are going for a meeting, and just when you are coming out of the car, the bird does it on somewhere here, isn't it? Na huyo ni ndege tu, na amekuja na alikuwa, kuna watu wengi na kuna places mingi tu imekuja tu kwa koti yako. So you have to go to the shop and get her. Are you getting? So that 10% is for that purpose. Keep it in a place where you can access it easily. Or if you have taken the insurance, then you have a card. Or if you have put it in a bank, you have a payment card, which you can swipe quickly and get the jacket. Or you have saved it in, who are these? There is somewhere you put it in the phone, isn't it? You can even have put it a wallet in your phone. So that is for that emergency. And something else about finances, you have to be disciplined. You have to be disciplined. That's why we are putting those percentage. If that percentage was meant for that, you got to be disciplined. There will be, and there will be some other competing needs that will come. Please ignore them. They are detractors. Ni kama tu ukitaka kwenda kuomba alafu watu wanakupea chai. Ama saa ile umefunga mtu analeta nyama ya choma. If you are not disciplined, you utakula tu. So it is the same. Finances, you got to be disciplined. Now, you have already collected all those monies. Either you have made money through where? Through where? I think you could have made money through many ways. And so if you have made the money, then you got to be sure that that money is well protected. Because you've made your money, and that money has many enemies, or many ways that you may find it and get lost. So you got to have a plan. A plan, in some places it is called the budget. Without a financial plan, you will perish. Ukweli. Incha ukweli. And I'm consulting the scriptures, and I'm sure someone can read this verse, Proverbs 29:18, so that you see what we are saying. Who has a mic to read? Mtu anaweza kusoma hiyo. Hizo zingine hatutasoma, lakini hii nasaka tusome. Because this topic is not si masomo, ni ukumbusho. Isi masomo ni ukumbusho, kwa sababu kila mtu hapa tunakutana na hii ni real life. Real life. So we are calling the key financial success alignment to God's purpose. Now in Proverbs, you can read Proverbs 29:18. Oh, it's already done. You can read it from the board. Hey,
Yeah.
guys.
Where there is no vision, the people perish. But he that keepeth the law, happy is he.
Yeah. So where there is no vision, vision is a plan, because you document vision in a plan. Okay. Where there is no vision, people perish. So, what are people doing with the money? What is causing people to have problems with the money? It's all these things. You are either repaying a loan, either from a bank or from a friend, isn't it? It could be yours or had been incurred by your your fathers. Eh? Yeah. Or you are spending this money for medical. Or it's money you collected and you are supposed to have forwarded it to somebody else. Or you are supposed to be paying government the tax, isn't it? So, or you had a credit card which you used and has not paid. And therefore, it's because it's almost at a default, it causes you crisis, isn't it? Yeah. So you have to pay it on time to avoid crisis. Many sins are committed through debt. Many sins are committed. That's when you lie. That's when you run away from people. That's when you run away from God. So God wants you to manage any debt, hata kama ni rent ya nyumba. Okay? Even if it is the debt, take, and it can go worse, because even the whole country can declare you bankrupt. And then it can cause pain to yourself and your family. Debt is so bad. Debt is so bad. It can cause problem both to you and your family and the neighbors. So there's nothing as bad as debt, because it's like it can remove clothes and you walk naked. Debt, it unclothes you. Can you imagine? It's because now, it's also expensive when it is overdue. It's expensive when it's overdue. Expensive, if it is from a friend, you avoid the friend. See, it's expensive. And maybe he was coming to give you a business. Okay? If it is from the bank, then they do penalty interest. If it is a card, they do penalty interest. If it is from Mshwari, they close your number. Therefore, nobody can reach you. Even the money you would have, those who would have paid you will not pay you. You go and change the number, now your former friends can't reach you and they have an opportunity. Are we together? Why are you not saying amen? Amen to stop using debt wrongly, isn't it? But I can tell you something else different. Because you got to observe the times. You got to observe the time. When you have debt, you observe the time. I even encourage people to sell their asset to pay the debt in bad times, before it becomes very bad. For instance, right now, interest rates are rising, isn't it? It's time to repay your debts, because then they will become expensive, and even if you have a business, it will not be able to make for that. So you calculate how much is my business returning. It's returning 30%, and now the interest rate is at 20, so I'm making 10. If it goes beyond 20, then I repay the loan. I better close the business to start again when things are good. Before it goes beyond where you can't sell the business, you can't sell the property, and the bank is after you, because at default they want to sell it and they will sell it at a throwaway price. So you still remain with the debt. Okay? So it is management of debt. You have to manage that debt. Yet, debt is very good if you take it for revenue generation. If you take it to increase your stock, if you use it to increase the sitting places for the sanctuary, because you are bringing more tithe. If you use it to bring more equipment that makes the youngsters now enjoy and come to church and they give. If you are using it to buy an Uber, not to buy a personal car. Okay? Because when you buy for personal car, you will be paying the loan and paying cost for maintaining the car. And that's what people don't count. Now, this one of maintaining the car is more expensive than paying the loan. So, if you have to maintain the car, it must also be bringing money, or the other part of income is increasing at the same rate. So you're buying the car so that you can be going to more sanctuaries to minister, or to go to other shops that you have opened to monitor them and grow there, or you have increased the number of, if you had one Uber, you have bought another Uber. If you had a prayer center, you are using that loan possibly to increase or to buy a bus to be going for those people who are coming to fellowship there. Are we getting? So it can actually bring a 5-year dream to now. What you would have been making in 5 years, you start doing it now. Is it making sense? I'm trying to simplify these things because they are not, they are real things and they are part of our life. They are real life. People talk big terms. It's nothing of big terms. It is, si interest unajua ni ile malipo unalipa juu ya ile pesa umepata, si ndio? So hakuna story mingi, na hata nikikupatia nitakwambia utanilipa na 50 shillings on top. Hiyo ndio interest sasa. Nimekupatia 100 shilling lakini utanilipa na 50 more. Ukikaa sana utalipa na 100 more. So hivyo utalipa mara mbili. So those are the things that we are talking about. So buying an automobile or a car is not bad. It's what are you going to use it for? What has cost you to want to buy it? If you have just, you are still going to town anyway on matatu and you are arriving on time. If that's the reason why you are buying it, then it is not necessary. You can still pick a Uber and takes you to work and you pay less than what you would pay. You calculate. If it's the cost of paying Uber is higher than the cost of paying the loan and maintaining the car, then you go for the car. Tuko pamoja? So it is a good idea, isn't it? Because you are making a profit. A profit does not necessarily mean money comes in, but you can save money. Does it make sense? So, and some of the debts are gotten because we want to make ourselves happy. So if you use that one, then it creates what we call debt crisis. Because you have spent, but it has no income, neither is it necessary in your life. Are you together? It's not necessary in your life. In other words, you have not aligned that spending to God's purpose. In fact, you have sinned. And it will become a big sin when now that things go into default, isn't it? Because now you had sinned against yourself and the family, but now you start sinning against God. It drives you all that direction. I hope I'm speaking something. So if you fail to pay tax, again, the government has a capability to come and sell your house and you walk out. that level. And they start off with the bank account. Wakilinyota knows that they just send you a letter directing you now to start pushing all revenue in that account to KRA. So we even don't consult you at that point. Ni ya mwenyewe, si ndio? Now, so those are the crises that debts can bring. So you have to have what we call debt management plan or strategy. And it is easy, debt management plan and strategy. And that strategy is driven by this. the debt I'm picking, is it going to generate revenue? Are you together? Number two, the debt I'm picking, is it going to save me? So that even to save some money. For instance, I can take a mortgage because the rent I'm paying is maybe I'm paying 50 and I will be paying the mortgage at 30. There are two benefits there. I will save the 20. Number two, I'll also be owning the house slowly. So that is a good debt, isn't it? Are you together? Because you're increasing your net worth, you're increasing your finances. So debt has never been bad. Banks have never been bad. It's the people who take the loans that are bad. It's the people who incur the debt that are bad. Because sometimes even the plan they give, you come and give to the bank, is a very good plan, and the bank agrees this one is going to make a lot of money and therefore increase the GDP of the country. Okay? So they are supporting you so that you increase our GDP, and therefore, then when you go back, you start realizing, oh, I can now be walking, I'll be driving. I'll just buy a small one anyway. Now, forgetting what I've just said, it is going to spend. Now, you are supposed to have increased your stock. You have not increased the stock. Or you're supposed to buy stock so that you add the value and sell finished goods. But now, you have not increased in that level. Meaning, the income you wanted to have, that you showed the bank that can be used now to be repaying the loan, is not going to come in, isn't it? Now, the impact of that comes a few months after, because the bank will be asking you for the money and you don't have all that money. So the funds you'd have otherwise been using ends up becoming a problem. And I'm happy that you're working with me. The presenter is even ahead of me. The one projecting is moved more faster than myself. So the point here is that debt is good, but must be governed by your financial plan. You remember, the financial plan is a what? A budget. I normally tell people that if by any reason you have money that just come, put it in the bank and go pray. Don't start thinking how many debts you want to pay, how many how many other things that you want to do. Just keep it in the bank and pray for it. In any case, it was not there. Okay? Go pray for it. As you pray, now prepare a plan of how you want to spend that money. Because personally, I've been in this. I'm telling you out of experience. You get good amount of money. Then, when you get it, the first thing is that problem that I had. You clear that, you pay that. Then you end up paying even, I have not sent money home for some time, you send. Then, later on when you sit back, you realize you have not even paid the electricity. You have not paid the rent. Na imeisha. So what have happened? You are in a crisis. It's what we call financial crisis. So I always encourage people, whenever you get money, don't spend that time. Keep it and go and think about it. Even if you knew how to use it, just keep it. Because money is so bad, it doesn't want to remain in the pocket. It pushes you. In fact, you start having a need to visit that auntie you have not seen for a long time. You start wanting to come to town when you even didn't have any reason to come to town. And you are busy. Money keeps you very busy. Have you ever noticed that? Anytime you have money in the pocket, the heart does not rest again until the money is finished. And it's normal. It's not supposed to stay. It's supposed to go through conversion into either an asset or paying expenses. Money is not supposed to stay in your pocket. If it stays in your pocket, it will not give you peace. You can't even pray, my friend. When you have money, it's a problem. Ask me. Yeah? So it is as you work with a plan. Having said that, then, you for that plan, isn't it? So pray. So Psalm 7 talk about delight in the Lord, and He will give you the desires of your heart. Delight in the Lord, and He'll give you the desires of. So when you are planning, that's why I'm saying keep the money first. Whenever you get it, keep it. Go and pray. What do you have? God is asking us. Nothing is little. Have faith. Where is your mustard seed? Look for your mustard seed so that it's multiplied. Whatever you do, I always say there's something that can be multiplied. Whatever you do, wherever you are in. And therefore, having aligned your desires to God, you are a vessel of honor from then. And that you can check from 2 Timothy. What do vessels of honor do? You are stewards of God's resources. This belongs to the Lord. We are saying, the money you are thinking is yours. You know, sometimes we say our money. It's not yours. It's only in your custody. If you want to know it's not yours, you just travel where people don't come back. You know that place? Just travel there, and you find how we use that money. Because it's not yours, it's God's money. So align them to the purpose. Tuko pamoja? Because it's Lord's money. I've just talked about, and I'm seeing that in this room, everything I'll say, it's documented. You get? I've seen it. It's documented all over. You can see? So I have a very, very easy time, because what we are talking about here is things that have already been documented here. So, how do we earn? What is our earning plan? We have two sides of earning. You can earn your money through active earning or passive earning. Active earning is, it can be either a daily income you are getting daily. You go and sell things. You bought at 10 shillings, you have sold at 20 shillings, you have made 10 shillings. That is your income, isn't it? Sometimes people make a mistake. They think they have made 20 shillings. And they start spending the 20 shillings. What have they done? They have dug a hole of 10 shillings. Then they start now borrowing. So before you spend, do mathematics. You had 10 shilling, you bought whatever you bought at 20 shilling, now your money is only the 10 shilling. And it's not even your money at that point, because you pay yourself. And normally I said you pay yourself how much? What you pay yourself is what you save. Do you remember what I said you save? 20%, isn't it? So 20% again belongs to you. 10% of that 10 again belongs to God. So by the time you are going to spend, you remain with about 2 shillings for spending. So spend only the 2 shillings. That's what is yours. Sijui kama tunaelewana. That discipline, and the Mama Mboga knows that discipline very well. Those people who sell cabbages and what have you, they have that knowledge, only that they they may not know, so that they accumulate, and sometimes they end up going and doing the wrong thing. But if you use the discipline that the 40% or the 10 shillings I made, I have the budget covers 60%, your expenses covers the 6%, and the 40% goes into the saving side. It goes to the medical, the insurance, the investment, all that we talked about. Okay? So it could be weekly income. If it is weekly income, then make sure when you get that income, the budget is still clear, that you will be able to cover your expenses for the next until the week comes. Sindio? And that money you set it aside. Each one of them, classify them. Put them aside. Hata kama umepata shilingi 10, make sure you keep them aside. I have a very good friend of mine who makes sure if he gets, even if it's 100 shilling, he will set aside 10 shilling. At that point, that's where he keeps them. And that by the end, whatever comes under the 10 shilling is the tithe. Whatever comes under the 20 shilling, he takes it to the saving. Whatever comes at the other 10 shilling, he pays for the premium. All that, and the other one he keeps for a rainy day. Now, assume you are at 20 years and you start that process. Yeah? If I knew what I know now, what you had talked about, I would, what Muchungaji had talked about, I would be having millions, not physical, but in the bank or somewhere else. Because you can imagine how much you would spend. And that discipline lasts you for a year. After 1 year, it becomes your way of life. Nikama prayers. You know, when you started praying and you could say a few words and you're wondering what are these people saying for a whole hour. Now it comes once at it's a kesha. Wanasemaga nini? Wanaambia. Are you getting? It's the same way we are before we start the discipline of dividing the money. Let each one be having its purpose. Each money has a purpose. Unaziita majina, zibatize, zite majina. If you call them names, now it doesn't matter how much you get. Unaziclassify. It is tedious in the first place. When you're starting, I found it very difficult. Very, very. Because sometimes I say, see, I can even borrow from there and do it here. But the principal tells me, if you want to borrow, go borrow from the bank. This one is for here, and this one is for here. I get rent. That rent goes into those categories, the 4 categories that I have told you. That way, you have no emergency, because if the emergency comes, it's already covered. And we have emergency all the time, including somebody who did not tell you when you want to pass away and they pass. Yeah? Okay? So it's still an emergency, isn't it? But they don't tell you. Now, so again, you could be having a 6-month income. At hiyo pesa inakujaga after every 6 months. It could be dividends, it could be interest on the bonds. Again, plan that money such that they can last the 6 months until the other one come. Even when we are up country, we used to see our parents. They would, when you do harvest, they would put the money, the food stuff, and say this will last us up to the other harvest, isn't it? They used to do that, isn't it? And they could even subdivide and say this kind of maize cob can be a good seed. Okay? So that becomes to a class of seed. This one goes into class of the store. This one is for eating now. This one for selling now to buy a uniform and pay school fees. That's what they used to do. I come from a maize growing area, so that's why I'm giving. If you come from the coffee, you have your story. Now, or it could even be coming annually. Again, divide it by 12. So that you have, because you have to live. And you can't live without money. And then, when you get it at the end of the year, it becomes too much. If you have not planned for it, you eat the whole of it. Then you suffer the next 12 months. And you sin. And you don't want people to sin. We can't have done so much for conversion and baptism and then you sin. Because of money. And it's God's money. Right? We can allow some people to sit down, then we continue. But you found us at we were making money, and we have said you can make money. Now, what is this? I'm talking about passive. When you talk about passive, we are active is the way where you work. You are the one who is working, isn't it? Or it's a business you have opened and you are running it. That is active. Or you are employed and then you are earning salary. That is active earning. Or you are selling, you have a business, you are selling some things. Those are all active. The passive is like when you build a house and then you are renting, or you have taken a bond and it is earning you interest. You see these bonds that the government gives, security bonds through the Central Bank of Kenya, and you buy them from banks, or you open a CDS account and you are buying shares, you keep those shares in that CDS account, you buy them through the brokers, and some you buy directly from the company. All those are passive income because they will pay you dividend and you will not be involved in day-to-day management of that income. So any income that you're not paying or you are not actively managing it for it to come, then that is passive. So you can have more examples, isn't it? And the active, we are saying, you can even pick, have such chairs, and when you dress them, you hire them to people, or you have a way of making juice and selling that juice at a profit after buying the fruits, or you have packed the water nicely, and then people are like the bottle and they drink the water, because the same water, the one you get from here and there, is only the packaging that makes you like to drink it. Right. So there is also the other side of spending. Now, I talked about the spending. Have a budget. Consult Luke 6:10. And Luke 6:10, maybe I have a very great guy there who projected these things. Immediately I mentioned them. I'm happy about him. God bless you, brother or sister. So he looked around, looked each one in the eye, and he said to the man, "Hold out your hand." He held it out. It was as good as new. Now, this, we are talking about tracking the budget. And when you are tracking the budget, then is that what I wanted to say? Tracking the budget. So you have to do some bit of validation of what has happened. Even when you are spending, you have to look at those expenses. Where are you putting them? And remember about also the guys who are given the talents, that be faithful with the little that God has given you. Be faithful. Multiply them. Spend less than you earn. I had talked about that. I said you spend 60%, 40% should remain. And then, now, there's one thing that has given many people problem. Maybe you have not experienced, but you could have experienced in a different way. there is something we call credit cards. You know, people take the credit cards, and it's easy to spend so much. And let's bring it home. The Fuliza. Bring it home, the Fuliza, isn't it? You go to a supermarket, you like something, they tell you just pay. You Fuliza, isn't it? Are we together? You Fuliza. Now, what happens when you don't pay it on time? They charge you interest, isn't it? It keeps on growing. And therefore, you end up paying twice of what you borrowed, or 3 times, or worst case scenario, unable to pay. And you are put at a credit reference bureau, and now you cannot even be employed anywhere. If you are a businessman, I told you that is a serious thing. You cannot be employed anywhere. And what did you do? You just went to the shop, found out that there is a nice dress, you had not planned for it, then you Fuliza. Yeah? You Fuliza. Or you went to anywhere. You will be, whenever you are Fulizaing, most of the time you are spending out of your budget. Is it true? Most of the time, you're spending out of your budget. And when you are spending out of the budget, then there is what we call financial discipline. You are lacking financial discipline. And you have seen how it leads you into sin, and how it leads you into problems that goes even not only to yourself, but to the family and neighbors. So, but when you are spending, anytime you are spending, there are 3 things you must do. Track your expenses. Make sure they are not going beyond your budget. Number 2, when you track note what you spend. If I have gone to, people used to say, those guys you call accountants, they used to say they are too mean. They write everything that they do. They go to the supermarket, they have a pen. Yeah? I'm encouraging you to be carrying a pen. Anything that is not within your budget, postpone it. It's not a matter of life and death. You can buy it tomorrow. Actually, you will be able to buy it tomorrow. But after having careful consideration. After careful consideration. So, the enemy of money is unplanned expenses. That's the enemy. Or put it differently, whatever brings you to poverty is unplanned expenses. Actually, it doesn't bring you to poverty, it makes you a slave. A liberated person becoming enslaved once more. It's only death that can quickly land you there. So if you want really to be a slave, just take debts. It's easy. Why is it a slave? Because once you have a debt and you are unable to pay that debt, whoever is the owner of that debt is your master. He tells you, come and do this, you will go and do it. Now, woe unto you if it's a master who is not in the family of Christ. You have seen people who sin not because they want, but because they have been made slaves. They have become slaves. They have taken debt, whichever form it is. So pay as soon as you can. Okay? Pay yourself first, pay your 10%, but all other debts, pay as soon as you can. Most of the time, it's very comfortable to have money in the pocket. So you don't want to pay everything. Unataka kulipa kidogo. And who has ever been experienced what I normally experience? If I have money in the pocket and I don't pay, I am capable of paying that debt, and then I don't pay, most likely by the time I'm realizing I need to pay that debt, I don't have money. If I ever postponed to pay a certain debt, the time it falls due and overdue, I will not have money and I will have to go looking for it, and the chances are I will borrow irresponsibly. Yeah? Because now I'm under pressure, isn't it? And you will take any interest, and this is one of the reasons people go for Shylock. It's unplanned expenses. They have spent somewhere there, and they ended up spending rent. So they come back home, the landlord is on their neck. So they have to pay the landlord, so they take their TV to the Shylock. The Shylock is very keen because then they earn interest per day. So within a short time, your TV is sold and the debt fully paid. So they come after you. You become under a man on the run or a woman on the run. You become a slave. Actually, not even a slave. I don't know how to describe it. Yeah? You can imagine you are walking into your house, you have gone into a chama, and now the security was the bed, and they have come for it. Does it happen? Yes, it does. It does. So, pay as soon as you can. In the scriptures, I think, I can't remember whether it was Psalm or it's Proverb, where they talk about even for your own employees or people you have employed, pay them early. Pay them as soon as you can. Don't keep somebody's debt or wages. There's somewhere, but I can't remember, but Nyota will find it. So, what are these? I think I've dwelt so much on the dangers of borrowing. But borrowing, I've said, is very good, isn't it? Did I say that? Borrowing is good, but planned borrowing, where you have already planned, if I borrow this money, I'm going to increase my business to this, and therefore the amount of money I'll start getting is more, and therefore I'll be able to pay the loan. If you don't do that consideration, and then think about it, if that business today, there is El Nino, and you can't go to the market. So the debt you take must also have a backup. There's something else I can use to make payment, not only the income that I'm getting in this business. That is what we're talking about, insurance. So, borrow to finance, never borrow to finance lifestyle, that I must always be at this, but the scriptures have come. You shall not oppress or exploit your neighbors, nor rob. You shall not withhold the wages of hired man, or this is a man, hired man overnight until morning. Remember, the word is withhold. Do you see that? Actually, when you withhold, you will use it for a different purpose which is not necessary, and so that you pay through mental torture. And I'm sure all of us have experienced that. Is it? Okay, withhold, you have to pay through mental torture. Right? So, never borrow when a failure to pay will be devastating. Think about it, what I've talked about the Shylock. You are borrowing and you are giving them your car. Of course they like a car, isn't it? So they will put the interest, and remember they are in control, isn't it? They normally ask you to give them the car, the logbook, and you sign a transfer. So there's nothing remaining. It's no longer yours. You think they are going to return it to you. They improvise you. So, if you track your expenses properly, we were saying you can then make sure that you have a source of the funds, whichever age you are in. So if you are active at the early age, you will be able to invest your money either in bonds, in businesses, even risky businesses at early age. If you reach around 40, above 40, you start spending your money on businesses that are not risky. If you go past 50, then you are thinking about retirement, and therefore you're only spending, you're putting your money, or putting the money you have, you put them in secure places, either in the bank to earn interest, even if the interest is kidogo, but you are sure it is going to come. Because that time you have no time of making up. Time is gone. Any mistake at that age between 50, that's where you find somebody started giving history of what they used to be. Yeah? Or how they used to live. And we have seen many neighbors, isn't it? Not ourselves, of course. Yeah? So we have to plan on where we are investing in, depending of our age. We can go specific for individuals because each individuals are at a different level of investment. So we have to start, and no one, including a child, should not start investing and saving, including the child. And it's good we teach our children how to save by possibly giving them money to go and keep for themselves in an account, or to go and keep themselves in a piggy bag. Nowadays, you don't need a piggy bag, just open an account and tell them to go and keep it. And then once in a while, you allow them to withdraw maybe 1,000 shillings, and they tell them to go and spend. Don't tell them to spend on what. Tell them to go and spend. Then after they are spending, you discuss, you sit down and look at it together. Which one would you have not spent on if you had thought about it? That brings in now the planning. So in future now they will be writing down what they want to spend on. Let them keep on writing, and then you look at it together. Then they go and spend on their own money. And then you will find them now feeling pain spending. Okay? They will be weighing options. It is difficult in the first stage giving them and allowing them. But after time goes by, you start realizing, actually, they are not even overspending. At final, because everybody wants to have more money, including the children. So they start competing who has more. They save you now the problem of trying to control them in the supermarket. For my children, especially for Christmas, what we do, we go to I give them each a certain amount of money. Then we go to the shop. They buy what they want. Me, I have no problem. Because that money was for the Christmas. So each one buys. Unaona wamezunguka wametumia 2 hours shopping. When you used to go with them and I'm the one paying, it was very easy. The basket was getting full very fast. Now the basket never gets full. Yeah? You just agree when you're in the house. You have this. Most of the time I give them same amount of money. And there are some who will purchase and they will come well and they can be able to attend that function you are going to attend, but they will be dressed very smartly and they have made a saving and they know where to keep the saving. Okay? So after some time, now start telling them now what that is all about. I know they now have, each of them have some either shares or some bonds, but they don't have the same. Some have more than the others, depending on the saving culture. So you keep on, and you have to be patient, because in the initial stage, watazitumia zote. In fact, sometimes they ask you, si uniongezee hiyo 100 bob. Then when the power of saving comes in, you no longer have problems. By the time you are going to the shop, they have already made up, and that has made it easy. Now, they even go to do house shopping, because when they are going, they pick carefully. They pick carefully. So I would encourage, if you have children, to start. It's not easy. I'm not promising you it's easy, but it takes some time. And persistence, you have to persist. Persistence. You persist, you keep on. There's one I know who has not yet gotten there. But that's life, isn't it? It's a success if it's only one. Where was I? I talked about the money where you can invest either in shares, you can invest in businesses, you can invest in, and there are so many business opportunities around, and God always helps us to identify those opportunities. So, that investment plan could be short-term or long-term, isn't it? Short-term, maybe we have now Christmas coming. How many have planned for it? But you are sure you're going to spend. That is for sure, isn't it? So what will happen when it comes? That's when you find people saying months of January is dry, isn't it? Why? You spent what was not supposed to be spent. You did not plan for it. Over time, again, personally, I've found it that on Christmas I like going now home, and I'll have planned for it, or but on Christmas and that area of holidays, I never go out. I'm always in my home ground. Then January, that's when I go for my holiday. Yes, in January. One, the hotels are cheap, and when you go to that hotel, you are treated like a king. You find two service people around you. Yeah, I enjoy that. I even take photos, the selfies. When I see them, I take. And in December, what happens? Hey, where? I've not gotten this. Hey, I've not got. And when you go home, you are going home angry. Is that true? Those who go to the beach, they can't even have somewhere to step in the water. The water is so dirty, so muddy. It's like the migration of the... It's called euphoria. And it's sin. It's another sin. Because you have given up your power to other people. The other people are driving you. You are doing it because other people are doing. You have given up your power. You have given up your mandate. You have become a slave. You have a slave of the multitude. Because everybody, I sometimes wonder, there is traffic all the way. Everybody, why don't you go on the 12th and go and make sure your families are happy, and give them everything that they need, and come back and rest on Christmas and go to church. After all, it's a church holiday. You should be in prayer. And you're out there sinning. Huh? Huh? Is it real? Is it truth? How many bad things happens on Christmas? Huh? So, you can have, there are several programs even in the computers and in the internet you can download to do financial planning. It can come in form of an Excel. It can come in form of a calculator. But the most important one is the one you keep in your brain and write it on a book. Because the one you write it on a book, what it happens, and by the way, when you do a budget or financial plan, be accountable. For mine, we share with my children and the family. We sit at the table and tell them, this is what I'm thinking. I'm going to receive this. This is what I'm thinking we are going to do. What do you think? Now, because, you know, men are very quick in decision making. Very fast, especially where it involves money. Hey. Huh? By the time you realize we have bought that thing before, you realize, especially if it is for investment. Kwanza hizo to plot, ninakuja tu kuambia nimenunua. But if it is not, and the youngest boy who will ask me, where is it in the plan we did? Yeah? How come it's not here? So I fear being unfaithful. So I have to go back and see whether they can agree we change the plan. On the process, they ask questions that I had not asked about the thing I was going to buy. And I realized that, again, that thing could have been risky. Before I used to do that, I didn't used to do that. So what used to happen is that I lost a lot of money in different ways. Yeah? Yeah, because a guy comes, tells you about the plot, and you go and see it, and you like it, you put the money. Then quickly you realize the land is under dispute. So I have two of them, and it's not small lands. One of them is 20 acres, another one is beyond the corns are there, and we are still in court. I had done it to come and steward the family the way I steward them. So you steward yourself. So be accountable. You get? Being accountable. So when that money comes, keep it. I'm telling you from experience, just keep it. Then go and discuss with do a plan with whoever you do it. Sometimes it is at too high level, then you have to do it to the spouse. Or even if it's not a spouse, you have somebody you trust, you can give them your plan. Then they hold you accountable. That in the next 5 years, this is what I want to have done. Then that person now holds you accountable. Before you change, then you have to go and consult and say, I found this, and I'm thinking changing this way. Then he'll be quick, because he has no interest per se, he'll quick to ask you, have you thought of this? Are you together? Then it's like critiquing that, then validating. Because if there is something about money, is that it's easy to lose it. The problem, you have earned it, you have spent so much time, you have agonized, you have denied yourself. You have denied yourself, then you just lose it. That is painful, isn't it? So you got to have a plan. it takes you very short time. You may have to delay it for 2 days, 1 month. Number two, you could be wanting to, if you want to invest for school fees, for instance, don't buy any shares, don't buy any land, don't buy, put it either in a fixed deposit or in treasury bills which matures every 3 months, or the one for 6 months. Are you together? Because by the time you come to sell shares, you may find that the prices have come down, isn't it? And therefore you're not able to pay school fees. What happens? You go and do another borrowing. Okay? You borrow, then when this one matures, then you use the investment to pay debt, and it may not be even enough. Or it gives you mtoto anakaa nyumbani wiki mbili before you sell the shares. Can you imagine that agony? Yeah? And the family is affected. So if it's short term, don't invest anything in long term. Also invest in short term. If your plan, you want to plan long term, then that's okay. Then buy for long term. And have a combination of investments. Some of them put them in the short term, some of them put it in fixed deposit, because for 3 months, another one for 1 year. Then the other, which would be longer term, put them in treasury bonds. And then those which are very long, put them in shares, because shares also appreciate and can give you a lot of money in terms of the appreciation. You bought it at 10 shilling, then they have become 30 shilling. Whatever you had invested, then you have multiplied it by 3, isn't it? You bought a plot at 100, 200, then it has come to 1 million. You have already made a profit, a supernormal profit of 800,000. But before you again buy those plots are tricky. Have Anthony, the lawyer, on your side to make sure that they validate that document. It doesn't matter who is selling to you, even if it is your brother. Have it validated by a lawyer. Have the agreement well set. In French, they say, even if he doesn't die, he will go for a safari. That guy who you are buying from, isn't it? Eh? You get? And and you are lost, because the people who have been left holding that asset don't know you, and the guy maybe had not said about it that he is selling. So you lose your money, your hard-earned money, and you can never go back there again, isn't it? It will be very difficult. So have it validated by a lawyer. It looks like it's expensive, so we want to do shortcut. Again, ask me about it. My lawyer, one time, when I was buying now that 120, which is at Olepolo somewhere there, we went with him. The way it was being transacted, he didn't like it, because it was being run by a lawyer, and the owner was in Mombasa. And he told me, unless the owner also confirm in writing that he has given this person. So I found like he's just wasting time, and this is obvious. Looks obvious. So I stepped him. Up to now, we are still having. I've not occupied the land. I have the title, but I can't occupy the land. Are you getting? So you say they are expensive. The opposite is even more expensive. Okay? The opposite is even more expensive. So sometimes you want to invest so that you get liquidity, money flowing in. So again, choose the ones which can give you then that money flowing in. Be sure it's going to go flowing in to match your expenses, right? So, because All of this is about expenses. Whether you are going to buy a car, whether you're going to buy a land, whether you're going to pay tithe, they are all expenses. I'm not sure how long I was supposed to take, but it seems I've taken very long. Now, I want to go back there, still at your money. Whatever I've talked about losing money is about being careful that there are tricksters. The world is full of tricksters, including those who you think they cannot be. Yeah? Including those who you think cannot be. So you must be fraud alert. Be fraud alert. So don't engage people you don't know in conversations relating to money. Don't engage people you don't know in conversation about money, and more so about your bank account or your M-Pesa, your telephone number, or your names. If they really wanted to talk to you, they know your names. Why are they calling you and asking you, by the way, what are your official names? In my phone, I have several SMSs that I received. Like the other day, I received one of a guy who was saying, who sends an email, clear for me that goods at the port or a container, and it's worth 18 million. After that, they send me another one saying, sorry, that message was not meant for you. It was, I don't know how your account, what is your name, Why do they want my name? If it is, are you getting? If you start answering that, the next thing I will be conned. They're just missing those details to con me, or to take away a certain asset, or to access my account. So don't engage, whether on call. Banks, if they want you, they'll get you. However, have a relationship with a bank, with your banker, or whoever keeps your money. Have a relationship such that if you get those alerts, you can tell that person to check, isn't it? Or you can visit there, or you can call their call center. Now, yourself, just cut that one which was, or drop that one which is coming, and they call now your banker to tell you now what is the problem. Or call Safaricom yourself to ask them what is the problem. Don't engage, because it could be true that there's a problem. Like a friend of mine was visiting, he was in Dubai, and there were calls which were coming, no, India, he was in India, and the calls keeps on coming, and they are coming from India. Kumbe, the place where the card he has transacted were trying to do a fraud, and the system is seeing them. So they are calling him to know whether it is him who is doing it or somebody else. So he didn't pick. And therefore, at final analysis, found that 600,000 has gone. Are you getting? So it's also good to be alert and call your bank. Because if he called the bank, then the bank would have seen that. You get? And acted on it. So it's also good to be fraud alert. So don't engage fraudsters or have relationship. Make sure you have a relationship with your bank. Of course, we talked about debt management, and we said there is good debt and bad debt. And avoid Shylocks. Of course, when you talk about fraud, we have talked about fraud both on your phones. It can come through your phones. That is what we call cyber fraud. Or it could come through physical money, isn't it? Yeah. Or even you are walking and somebody snatches your phone. So it could be whichever way. Protect your assets. of course, make sure you have an emergency plan. I'm sure we had talked about an emergency plan, either for medical needs, for school needs, for investment opportunities, or when you are ill and cannot work, isn't it? When you are ill and you cannot work, so it should be having some money you can use. And these are normal things that happen. Si ni vitu zinafanyika tu, na ujui itafanyika lini. Or you are incapacitated, and therefore because you are taken insurance, they pay you good money. And when they pay you that good money, put it in an investment that can start paying you slowly. Don't be in a hurry to start using. Put it, even if it will be giving you an income less than what you used to earn, but at least you have a continuous income. Don't start buying some cars to drive in. Or even a disaster like COVID can come. If you didn't have some, and there is lockdown, and you didn't have some savings you had, or investment that can earn itself as you wait for the recovery, then there is a problem. Or right now we are preparing for things like El Nino, too much rain. So, what do you do with the insurance plan? You could be insuring your car, insuring yourself, insuring for your health or your home, or make sure you insure your business. Especially those who have businesses and they are big, you need to insure either for a fire or loss of business, so that you can have something to fall back to instead of just having nothing. You had something and you have nothing all of a sudden. Na tunasema hawa watu wa insurance kwanza wanatusumbua, si ndio? Are you getting? But wait until something happens. We've talked about a retirement plan. If you are retiring, we go through a cycle. You are educating your children, you're educating yourself, you are growing your career, you are forming the family, you are buying property, and all in that whole thing, you can insure yourself in that cycle, isn't it? And of course, we've talked about estate planning. Because of that day when something may happen, you don't want those close to you to be left fighting over things, isn't it? Don't want to be left fighting over things. You can do an estate plan, okay? Estate plan. Don't have things that are not known. As I've said, if you do a good planning right from the beginning, even doing a will become very easy. Okay? Make sure that we have things that can be used for. Ensure that most of your personal information are with your people. Your dependents are aware of many things, and who manages it if they are not of good age, and all those things that your hard-earned currency should not fall into the wrong hands. You have seen how difficult it is to earn the money, isn't it? Si umeona, si rahisi. So you should ensure that none of them goes into waste or goes to the wrong hands, to other people who you have, and then your children are left suffering. I was reading the newspaper about one of the person who used to own a big estate and was staying in Karen, and he left his will with a lawyer and he told nobody else. Have you read that? He told, have a backup plan, so that even if this one was to misbehave, there is another one who can reconfirm. So there is a copy elsewhere. Yeah? Those children really suffered before they came to terms, or somebody came for their rescue, because they had no idea, and the lawyer is the only one who had a key to everything. So he started allocating himself all those things. So trust no one else except God. All the others verify. All the others. In finance, Not matters of faith is okay. And even that one is not okay. Because you may end up at Shakahola, you know. Yeah? Even matters of faith, don't trust. In fact, matters of faith, consult the scriptures. As somebody talks, make sure you are near a scripture to reconfirm. Eh? It used to be easy to trust everyone, but nowadays you can't. The world has changed. Since COVID, everything has changed. Huh? Am I right? Since COVID, everything has changed. I don't know whether I've satisfied by what we were supposed to have talked about, but I've tried the best I could to drive you into financial literacy. I may not be able to go into all the details, but any other time, I'm sure, even if you ask me to repeat this, I can repeat another day. But I would say that it has been a great pleasure allowing me to speak where you are quiet. I felt a lot of authority bestowed on me. I hope I didn't misuse it. Yeah. Thank you very much. Any question or something, we can do that. Unless Nyota wants to add something that could have left, I can see time is far much spent. Nyota? Okay. How do we pass off? How do I come off this stage? Yes, there is a question there.
Okay, thank you for the teaching. My name is Joyce. I want to ask, when you have gone wrong in finances, you are in default, you are in debts, you've already sinned, how do you recover? Where do you start after realizing that you need to recover?
Okay, that's very good. Any other? How do you recover? Maybe let's first of all answer that as people develop another one. Now, yeah, that will happen. And the worst case is to panic. Don't panic. Don't panic. When you have found yourself in that position, don't panic. Go to your talk to your, if you have a banker, talk to your banker and have a discussion. One, if it is the loans that you have defaulted, we can reschedule. Can have a discussion and tell them, looking at the way things are now, the truth is, I did not expand the business. I went for a trip. And when I came back, I realized that I'm supposed to be paying this much, and I can't get it. If you really want, we can visit my business, we have a look at it, and then you agree. Everyone wants to the debt paid. So they will come and sit back with you and restructure and say, then instead of what you used to pay 100,000, now you can start paying 10,000. Then we make this loan, if it was 3 years, we make it 6 months. That's one option. That for the bank, you have dealt with it. The alternative B is what I had said. Even before you go to them, you realize even the loan will be very expensive. And you don't have ways of dealing with that. You have an asset, though you like it so much, you can sell it when you still have time. You sell that asset, pay off the debt, okay? And then restart again, now following the principles that you have done, you are to follow. In some instances, again, it's not even your mistake. The field changes. The scenarios just change. For instance, you are selling second-hand clothes and they have been banned, and you have the stock. Are we together? So you just go to the financial and have a sitting to redesign. And the sources of starting businesses again are various. You could have sold a property to start a business. You could even have gone to your family to support you to do it, or a friends have supported you. The thing is, talk about it. Okay? I have seen, you see, remember the prodigal son? Just coming to realization, I have seen, and then you take a step to correct the position. You don't remain in the pig's pen. Come out of there and go talk about it. Much of the things that are bothering us are things that can be sorted out. Look for a financial advisor who can work with you when you are doing whatever you are doing. Be careful again. Be sure they are advising you correctly. As I've said, not everybody now is good. If I was discussing with a friend of mine who is in UK, and he has a family here, the mother and the family is here. So he used them to build a building in Githurai, and they built and finished. But somehow, somewhere, the father changed the land title to his name. Are you seeing? See, that's very close home. Now, whose property is that now? Even if the father was to go, it is for the whole family. It's not his, isn't it? So they always keep tab to what you are doing. If you are investing, make sure you are watching your investment, you are checking. And I like the one Masai, when we opened a branch in Kajiado, he kept about 3 million in the account. After a month, he came and said, I want my money. So we counted the whole 3 million and gave him. He looked at it, said, keep it back. I've confirmed my money is still there. I've confirmed my money is still there. Be like him. Confirm. Okay? That the money is still there. So, those dynamics must be there. In God we trust, everybody else we validate. Yeah? In God we trust. Everybody else we validate. So, I've given you several examples of very close family, isn't it? Very, very close. Because money is very tempting. Somebody will look at your money and wish they are the ones who have that. So that wish, if executed, then it means your money moves to them, isn't it? Including resulting to death. And not death of a friend, even death of a relative, a family, a close family. Caused by what? What you have. So be careful also. It can cost you, your own money that you have worked so hard for can cost you money, life. It is a strange world, isn't it? It's a strange world. I don't know whether people assume them they live forever, and it's only you who is worthy to die. But essentially, the discipline of keeping records, the discipline of having openness, the discipline of having an advisor, the discipline of having somebody who can hold you accountable. It will help you. Because in the process, not only that person who wants to take you out, off the curve, that knows about this, isn't it? There are others who knows about it. So it's open. I even don't know why people hide that the family does not know anything about what the man holds, the plots he holds. The thing is, they have forgotten that all these things belong to God. So how do you hide things that belongs to God? You make sure that they are known. In fact, it's good to tell everyone who needs to know. What they do with the information is a different story. So I'm not sure I've answered your question. I think I've started preaching. Is any other? Okay. Thank you very much, and I'm glad that you allowed me to have this opportunity to minister through this particular agenda. Thank you.